Good morning, we're making a stiletto dagger with a carved handle inspired by this 16th century multi-tool. As you saw in the last episode, the weather here in England got a little funky. We got a ton of snow by British standards, but it's letting up and we've got gorgeous clear blue skies. That's been a lot of fun out of the workshop, getting to play in the snow. As you'll remember, I messed up this handle. We started another. Yoga has been great moral support, and I'm gonna get right into carving some beast heads. Alrighty, check it out. We have ourselves some teeth. They are looking mighty fierce. We've even been coming in with the ball burr here, pulling away the background, making sure that we've got tons of definition between the heads and the background of this stuff. What I'm doing now is I'm taking, I believe, a 0.8mm ball burr, and I'm actually forming just a little bit of the roundness of this head back here. And of course, this rolls over the top, so there needs to be a crisp definition along this line. And so I'm coming in here, cutting a groove, but then making this head a little more three-dimensional by cutting away some material there. Growing up, cereal was one of my absolute favorite foods, which is why I'm so thrilled that Magic Spoon is sponsoring today's episode again. But here's the thing, when I grew up, I realized that I probably shouldn't have been eating so much unhealthy stuff. And cereal is just packed full of sugar, unlike Magic Spoon. Reducing your sugar intake doesn't mean you need to cut down the quality of your breakfast. In Magic Spoon, there's 0 sugar, 11 grams of protein, 3 grams of net carbs, it's grain-free, gluten-free, soy-free, keto-friendly, and GMO-free. They've got a whole host of flavors like blueberry, cinnamon, fruity, peanut butter frosted, and my absolute favorite is cocoa. And on the back of their boxes, there's even great games to play, just like when you were a kiddywink. Magic Spoon is backed with a 100% happiness guarantee, so it's risk-free to try some delicious flavors. MagicSpoon.com/Forge is the place to go. Use code FORGE at checkout. Thank you, Magic Spoon. Let's get back into the video. Bit by bit, I'm making it happen. This is mind-blowing to me. It's starting to look like sea monsters. I carved in the eye sockets according to the photocopy of the example. We made little pupils in there. We removed some background up here. And I began the process of scribing out these little feathery things on the top of the head. And I then took the ball burr in and started working it down over here. They even have a slight undercut to them, and I think that this carving is genuinely showing potential. And I think this is the first moment where I've really started to feel confident that, you know what? I might just pull this off. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to replicate what I've done on this side, on the other, starting with the 0.3mm ball burr. We will still need to come in here to the top of these feathers, however, and get some shape going in there so that we can give the impression of a movement to it. More than ever, there's no doubt in my mind that this is going to be a one long journey. So let's get cracking with that second side. To put into perspective the microscopic nature of what we're dealing with, this is a pencil and a 0.3mm burr. I've decided the snout and nose is a little too blocky, shouldn't have this square corner, so let's round that out. So over the last hour, I have started making ourselves some lines of where these scales are going to go. Red dicum, a pair of dividers, and a 0.8mm ball burr is how we did it. I'm adjusting the lengths of the scales after a rotation or two, and so they're longer here than they are here, and they'll keep getting shorter out towards the end. But I'm finding as I get into this smaller section of the beasts' bodies, it's just more and more difficult to carve. And I'm slipping more and more. And that means that I'm making mistakes that could be very time costly in the future. So I'm going to take a second here and I want to talk about some gear, some stuff. Now, I don't know about you, but I certainly like cool bits of gear, especially cool bits of camera gear. Over the last little while, you might well have seen some rather fantastic moving time lapses. Those time lapses are achieved with this slider. It is the Rhino Arc 2. I've had one of their earlier generation camera sliders for years. You will have seen it if you watch the channel. But this unit is such an awesome upgrade. With this joystick, you can control all sorts of cool tilting and spinning, set keyframes, and plan out amazing time lapses. They gave us this slider for us to use, and I'm very grateful about that. So be sure to get one of these bad boys if you're in the market for a good camera slider. Now, in more tangents, you remember these two rings? I cast them in the Montana shop. So since November, they are still unfinished. I've got to finish them. So I've got those rings finished up. My apologies to the recipient of those rings. I'm sorry it took me so long to get them finished, but they're done now. We're back on the blade. We're leaving tangents behind to work on the actual project, and this thing is unfortunately bent after it's come out of the temper. So we're going to straighten it, and then we're going to begin grinding the bevels. Okay, it's now been about an hour. Let's see if she's any straighter. Oh, I dare say we might have just got a slam dunk right there. To be honest, I actually don't know the last time I ground a bevel. Over the last 2.5 years, Mr. Will Stelter has been doing such an incredible job of taking on all of our bevel grinding in the Montana workshop, and I can tell you my skills have suffered as a result of it. And what I want to do is I want to show you where these bevels are going wrong so that you can identify this in your own work perhaps. When you're grinding a bevel, we're right now at 60 grit, if you start seeing these lines develop, you have little wavy lines as you look at it in the light, well, that is a sign that you're not actually holding the same angle the whole way along the belt as you grind it. And when you catch these lines in the light, they're representing two different angles on your bevel, and that's no good. The end goal is this. It is the perfect conjoining of two lines, and any change in angle can make that edge thicker or make that edge fall back. The relationship between the angle on our bevel, the distance from the start of the bevel to the edge, is hugely critical, and so it wants to be flat across there. So focus really hard when you're grinding, like I need to now, to avoid there being any of these little shimmers of light. It wants to be one flat surface, not like what I've got.
Well, quite miraculously, I ended up pulling off these bevels, and I'm thrilled with how they're taking shape. They're currently at an A65 Trizact. I've been using the 2x48 steel grinder. We've got more of these launching on Thursday at 12 p.m. Mountain Time on the Alec Steele Co. So be sure to check them out then. I'd really love it if you added one to your workshop. Thank you all so much for watching, and thank you to Magic Spoon for sponsoring this episode. Be sure to get $5 off a variety pack using code FORGE at checkout.